There one club player is becoming like non-existent, right? And whether this has been happening for some time, whether this is like new or old, it's just the effects has been very obvious recently. So, for example, one of the most recent cases of someone that was brought from the academy and then they just came on the scene. That was Marcus Rashford. For me, that's the latest example I'm going to use. Now, Marcus is 28 years old, had a semi decent season at Barcelona, and it looks in a way that when he's away from Manchester United, he is better than he was at Manchester United. And in a way, you look at it and be like, okay, it's better that he wasn't a one club player, right? It's better that he wasn't a one club player. And then you see other players who are very vocal about being at their one club. They may not have started at their club, but they are vocal about they would have to kill me to leave. Fede Valverde seems very passionate about Real Madrid, and there has been some reports saying that he's going to actually stay. Him and Tio Chamane is going to stay at Real Madrid in the coming season. Then you have Marco Reus is the next example. He left. I guess that's different. But he was a one club player, but he kind of originated from was came from Mönchengladbach. Another case is probably Messi, but I guess Messi would have stayed at Barcelona if the politics wasn't involved, or the La Liga wages. I think it was that was the issue. And then we see loyalty is costing players their careers. That's just my thing. Loyalty is costing players their careers. One of the examples that I can say that is not the case, I see Pedri, Gavi, Lamine, Casado, Fermin Lopez. Pedri, not so much because I believe he came from Las Palmas, but you look at him and you just think La Masia, right? Um, though Barcelona is the only club I'll see that has that one club player environment or culture. Another example could use is Phil Foden, right? And Phil Foden just signed an agreement for 4 years. How much is that? Is because Pep is leaving because he wasn't in the last 2 years on the Pep. Phil wasn't the greatest. If Pep stayed a couple more years, would Phil have stayed as well, or would he be on loan, or would he have went abroad? And does Phil know who's coming in? Like, because Phil Foden signed that 4 year extension before the news about Maresca came. So did Phil Foden knew Maresca was going to come before the news? So you can't really say, but to me, outside Barcelona, I would say Phil Foden is like in the top teams. Like probably there's in the there's other players in like probably like in Bournemouth or Lee. I don't know, but I'm just saying based on seeing at a distance, Phil Foden is the only player I see that is outside, that's in the top five leagues, top four, top teams, that's still a one club team player. And I've seen it, it's loyalty cost. Loyalty cost. Another example about loyalty costing players is Ronaldo. Now, I'm a Manchester United fan. I was so happy to see he come back. But I knew he wouldn't win us the league. He wouldn't. I knew he wouldn't because the issue with Manchester United is not the quality of the players. Like we didn't lack quality. At the time he came, Ronaldo was there, Pogba was there, Sancho was there, Varane was like we had a title contender team, just not the title. And it wasn't the quality of the players, it was another factor that the fans could not see on the pitch. So when Ronaldo came in, I'm like, okay, we have Marcos, we have Martial, we have Cavani. What are we doing with Ronaldo? What are we doing? So and then I respected Cavani for what he did outside changing his number. Like Cavani took on a different role. He took on a Zatan Cavani role for Ronaldo. And I respected that. But for me personally, Ronaldo only came back to Manchester United that season because of loyalty. To me, if Ronaldo was a little bit more obsessed about himself, he would have went to City and be like, I don't care. You guys want to call me a traitor? I don't care. I don't care. Because if you heard the interviews with Ronaldo, you could have heard that Ferguson actually stopped him from going to City. And if Ronaldo's at City, I promise you, he would have more titles, more goals, and a bigger legacy. Bigger legacy, right? And then loyalty cost him. Loyalty cost Marcus Rashford. To me, Marcus, if Marcus left right after the 22-23 season, it would have been better for him. And if Marcus left and went to Barcelona, so 22-23 was his good season. If he have left and went to Barcelona, so that's the 23-24, wow, that would be a different story because he would have played over Rafinha because at the time Rafinha wasn't doing so well, as not as well as he's doing now. But I'm just saying, loyalty costs Marcus. Like I see so many years gone to waste just for loyalty, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying loyalty is a bad thing. I'm just saying nowadays loyalty is costing players' careers. No, we have instances where loyalty is the answer for some careers and it benefited the players' careers. Number one, Iniesta. Number two, Xavi. Busquets to a degree. I would say Totti as well. And then Daniel De Rossi, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of players who are one team club players and being at that team for so long actually benefited them in the long run. Actually benefited them in the long run. So with that being said, what there's way more one team players back then than now. And I'm thinking about it now. I'm just saying to myself, I wonder how much is a politics. Like, football has become such a business where players cannot afford to be a one team, one club players. They can't afford it. They can't afford it, right? And Gonzalo, to me, most players, if you come through a academy at a top team, and then you've made it well, and the coach believes in you, you are staying at a club forever, right? You are staying at a club forever. But that's for the Ajax Academy. Sometimes the players will stay there for a minute. Sometimes they move on because Ajax is not a top team in Europe. Top team in the Dutch league, definitely, but not top team. But we're talking about like Barcelona. If you come through the academy, you are staying. It's a cult. I'm just joking. But like, how many top players came through Barcelona, La Masia, be, broke into the youth team, broke into the first team in their teens, and stay there for a significant long time. Longer than most of them do that. How many of them actually left? I think Thiago Alcantara was one. I believe Thiago Motta is one, and Rafinha. Rafinha, who played in the 16-17 season, that the Brazilian one, the brother of Thiago. Yeah, those are the only names I can think about that went to other clubs. Now let's look at Manchester United, the class of '92. None of those players wanted to leave Manchester United. None of them. None of them. I think it was only David Beckham and Phil. I think Phil went to Everton. Yeah, I might be wrong with this one. And then you look at Phil is the next one, and then some boys coming through City. Some of them went on loan. Liverpool academies, they don't stay, and I think Harvey wanted to stay, but it's just like what's changing the culture of the one club players? What's changing? Like we know it's politics, but why staying at Manchester United harm Marcus? And how much is it? Was it Manchester United? And how much of it was Marcus? Why staying at Barcelona is benefiting Pedri, Gavi? Why Gonzalo Garcia has to leave. Outside the fact that he is competing for a striker position, because had to leave. But I feel like Benzema didn't leave because he was getting game time, I guess. But I'm just saying, like, why is it some clubs or Barcelona makes it easier for academy graduates who are top level stay at the club longer than other clubs? Real Madrid academy, I'm gonna sit back and watch how it turns out because Picard, he's looking good. Let's see if he's going to stay. I don't see a culture on youth academy with Real Madrid in Castilla. I don't see a culture, so I don't know what it is. So we're just here watching and see how it looks like. But I want to know exactly what Real Madrid are doing differently that makes the culture of the youth academy to say, hey, go somewhere else versus Barcelona, right? Versus Liverpool. Liverpool academy graduates want to leave. Look at Trent. Another example. It's too early to judge if it was a good decision or a bad decision with Trent. I agree with that. And then look at Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer left Man City, went to Chelsea. Right? I didn't even know any Chelsea graduates, so I couldn't even speak about that. And then look at Son. Son was so loyal, and did that loyalty benefit him? Yeah. Well, let's be honest. If Human Song went to Barcelona, Bayern, he would have had the career that Hurricane is having. Hurricane had to leave. Hurricane had to leave. So, what do you guys think is the reason why clubs these days are moving away from the one club players? Is it jersey sales? Is it politics? Is it money? Is like what is it? I know it could be money, but money is a broad topic. But what specifically makes these players say, "Hey, this is not the one club player for me"? Like, what do you guys think?